March of 2024 was my last chemo. I feel strong now, except for the neuropathy in my feet. That just reminds me every day that I have pancreatic cancer.
My mom is honestly one of the most thoughtful people that I've ever met in my life. She's the first person that's there at a party to help you set up, and she's the last person there to make sure that every bit of it's been cleaned up for you. So that really has translated my entire life, seeing how thoughtful and generous and caring that she is.
To say that I had cancer, I mean, even my PCP was shocked. Getting that diagnosis of cancer was very scary. So I got a notification that I had results, and I just read the diagnosis, which was not good. And at that exact moment, the doctor called to confirm what I had just read. So that's when my husband came home shortly after that. I had told him. We both cried and said, okay, we had to tell the family, and then we moved on. Then we went into action mode.
I was incredibly surprised and scared and just really didn't know what to expect. I work in the medical industry, and so I did have this idea of how severe pancreatic cancer is. And so, you know, it's trying to really bridge that feeling of what could happen with that optimism and trying to be really strong for her too. But it was pretty shocking.
It's hard. The chemo is tough. The surgery, I was lucky enough to have Whipple surgery. That was real tough. And then got to have more chemo after that.
You always kind of in your mind understand that chemo is a tough thing for people to go through, but to really see her go through this regimen and just to see what it did to her body, having to always balance that prognosis of being optimistic but really not being sure what's going to happen next was very, very difficult.
I had a huge support network, which was extremely important. My daughters were wonderful. My husband was great. He would prepare meals for me, most which I wouldn't eat or maybe just take a little bite, but he was very encouraging to make whatever I wanted. One day it would be one thing that I'd like, and then I wouldn't like it the next day, but he was real good like that. So, and then of course my circle of friends.
When my mom was diagnosed, we had learned about Casey and her family, and she was planning her 10-year celebration, which she was doing in honor and to represent and raise money for Project Purple.
She invited a couple of us up to the stage that were there that were dealing with pancreatic cancer, and then asked if we wanted to say a few words.
The first time I heard my mom speak about her pancreatic cancer, I just felt this enormous amount of pride. She's really not somebody who will be in front of a camera or really wants to speak about herself. She's very humble in that way and just, again, very caring, but in a more subtle way. And so to see her up on stage or just, you know, over the course of the last 6 months or so, just speaking out and telling her story just really makes me proud of everything.
March of 2024 was my last chemo. I feel strong now, except for the neuropathy in my feet. That just reminds me every day that I have pancreatic cancer.
Just thinking back on who she is and how strong she is, it doesn't surprise me that she just took everything as it came and was very action-oriented and just thinking about, you know, how to get through the next thing.
I don't really feel that I've lost anything. I appreciate things more. I have such a love for my family and my friends. The most positive thing is just to appreciate life. When you're facing something like that, it makes you stop and realize how important people are.
My mom had a series of friends who just continuously made different soups for her. Soup was something that was really comforting for her because she was having trouble digesting food, whether it be through the chemo or especially after the surgery. And so her having a bit of a variety of the soups was just so helpful for her. I think it's easy to be intimidated by reaching out when a family's going through something, but it really is so supportive and so helpful to just ask what they might need. And they oftentimes will probably default to like, no, we're good. And that's why I think that even if you just make those gestures, make the soup, whatever it is.
It helps in a tremendous way. It really does. If you can have a good support system, I think that's really important.
I encourage my mom to tell her story because having people in your life that you've seen come out of the other end of this is just so important, especially when you're going through it.
Callie went to every appointment. We took notes. You need to bring someone with you to these appointments because sometimes it's really difficult to remember everything a doctor has said. I really trusted both the oncologist and the surgeon. I trusted them completely, and I think that's really important too. And just did whatever they said I had to do. It's like, you have to do this? Okay, we'll do it. And that's how I approached it. You have to feel comfortable with your doctor. You have to trust your doctor. And I think you have to feel that as well. You have to be able to have a lot of questions and have them answered, and answered in a good way that you don't feel like you're being rushed, that you could ask any question you absolutely have and be comfortable with it. I think that that's the most important thing. Don't be afraid to take the medications that they give you. Make sure you take them, get plenty of rest. The exercise portion of it, if you can get out and exercise, great. I had a hard time leaving my house at times. I tried to get up, take a shower, and get dressed every day, right? Sometimes I'd get dressed in another set of pajamas if I was really feeling lousy, but I feel that it was important to get up and shower and get ready and try to take on the day rather than just be in bed all day. I tried to stay up a lot during the day if I could. Whatever you can do. I would try and keep things as normal as possible. Try to read, try to do things other than just, think about your cancer. Try to get out as much as you can. Like I said, I had difficulty doing that, but try to surround yourself with, people that are helpful.
The Survivor Summit was great. It was really great to see my mom and watch the survivors make connections and just to build their own network of folks who've been through the same thing that they have.
It kind of just made you feel that you weren't alone and that there were others. Everyone shared their experiences.
I didn't realize how much it was really helpful for me to be connected with other caregivers and folks who have had to watch their loved ones go through a really hard situation like we have.
Well, I just definitely want to shout out to Project Purple and for everything that they have done and are doing for people. And also just to have that support there. There are people that don't have a big family or a circle of friends, but they can reach out to Project Purple for help. And I think that that's really important.
Thank you to the Project Purple organization. It truly has been such a family for us and just a way for us to, again, have a platform to help others, but also just to have a support system through us through the entire process. And I would just tell anybody going through this not to be afraid to reach out, not to be afraid to, try to find others to talk to who maybe have gone through the same thing. But just really appreciate everything that this organization is doing for the community.